Thank you so much for joining this lesson. We're going to discuss the Alliance High School Post-Mock 2024. The section 1 is already in this platform. So allow me go to the section 2 of this paper 1. Remember to subscribe. Remember to share. Just remember to invite a friend to our platform. The first question in the section 2, number 17. Given that x minus y equals to 3 and 3x plus y equals to 7, find without solving for x and y the value of x squared minus 2xy plus y squared. So we begin with the first problem here, whereby we are only supposed to factorize. So we factorize first. This is our quadratic expression, whereby we need to know that the product here is a times c, which is 1, and the sum is -2, the value of b. Two terms, when multiplied, they give us 1. When added, they give us -2, are -1 and -1. Therefore, we rewrite x squared minus xy minus xy that way. So we are replacing -2xy with -xy once again, plus y squared. So from the first two, we can factor out x such that we remain with x minus y. Then we subtract y so that we remain with x minus y that way. So you see, at the end of the day now, from the brackets, we are getting x minus y. And inside the brackets, we also having, inside the brackets, we have x minus y. And outside the brackets, we have x minus y. So this one, we call it a perfect square. Yeah, we call it a perfect square. If an expression is simplified to give us two common factors, we call it a perfect square. Therefore, in simpler terms, we are having x minus y squared. And the value of x minus y has been given as 3. So 3 squared will give us 9. So we've gotten the value. In part 2, we are told to find the value of 9x squared plus 6xy plus y squared. So again, we factorize product a times c, which is 9, sum the value at b, which is 6. So this is 3 and 3. You can see the factors are the same here, meaning that we are likely to get, once again, a perfect square. So this is 9x squared plus 6xy plus, instead of 6xy, we are replacing it with 3xy, then 3xy plus y squared. From the first two, 3x is common. We remain with 3x plus y. The last two, we can have y, so that we have 3x and y. Inside the brackets, we have 3x plus y. Outside the brackets, we are having 3x plus y. Such that this is 3x plus y squared. Meaning that for us to get the value of the expression, we need to take 7 and we square 7. This is giving us exactly 49. Yeah, exactly 49. Okay, we have a Roman 3 here. 3x squared minus 2xy minus y squared. Let's solve this one. Product is going to be 3 times -1. Sum is going to be -2. Two factors such that their product is -3 and their sum is -2. Look at -3 and +1. Multiplied -3, added -2. So we will talk about 3x now, squared, minus 3xy plus 3 plus xy. Then minus y squared. From the first two factors, we can factorize 3x, so that will remain with x minus y. Then we can factorize y, so that will remain with x minus y, the last two. That means from the brackets, we are having x minus y, and outside the brackets, we have 3x plus y. That way. So x minus y is 3. 3x minus y is 7, according to what has been provided here. X minus y is 3. 3x plus y is 7. So this is going to give us exactly 21. A very healthy question. So that is what was required of you. That is exactly what was required of you as a student in that particular question. Now we advance to the second part of this question, part B. The total age of a group of parents is 342 years. A new parent, aged 48, joined the group, and the average raises by 1. Find the original number of parents, given that they were more than 30. Given that they were more than 30. Let's interpret this information together until we get the number of parents, which originally was here. So the total age of a group of parents. So when we take the parents and we add individually all the years, this means that if we get the average or simply the mean by letting the original number of these parents be x. Now we are saying that for us to get the mean, original mean will be 342. That is the sum out of the number of the parents. That is the original mean age of these parents. Again, a new parent aged 48 joins the group. That means there is a new total, and that means we'll get a new mean. So the new mean shall be, we take the new total years, we add 48 to 342 plus 48. This gives us 390. So we have 390 years out of they were x, and 1 has come in, and 1 has joined them. So the average raises by 1. So the new average is bigger than the original average by 1. So when we take this new average minus what originally was the average, that is 342 over x, we're supposed to get 1. That is the essence of that information now. And I hope we are together in that interpretation. Total age of parents, 342. So original mean was 342 over x. A new parent joining these parents with 48 years. That means the new total is changing, hence affecting the mean. So the new mean becomes new total 390 out of the new total number of parents, x plus 1. Now, the difference in these two averages, so the average has raised by 1. It's just 1. Then we find it. So let's get the value of x now. Let's get the value of x. I will start by doing the mean. I'll do by this called the LCM, sorry, not the mean. So LCM divide by the first denominator. We will have x plus 1 cancelling, so that will remain with x. So 390 by x minus 342 multiplied by, when I divide the LCM by the second denominator, it will be x cancelling, and we remain with x plus 1. This is equal to LCM divided by 1, then multiplied by 1. So the LCM will remain the way it is. X squared plus x after expanding it. So now we are done with the LCM. We can now open bracket and group terms together. 390 x minus 342x minus 342 equals to x squared plus x. That way. So if we arrange this equation for it to take what we call a quadratic order, it will start with x squared. Then we are having 1x plus 342 minus 390. We get negative 47x. Negative 47x. That way. Then 342 will be added. The constant now. The constant 342 will be added to the other side. So this is a quadratic equation. Quadratic equation. We can solve it using one of the many methods of solving quadratic equations. So we can prefer the quadratic formula. And I hope the grouping of terms has been accurate. I just believe that that opening of brackets was accurate, because I'm supposed to take 1x, then I add 342, but I subtract 390 because I'm taking them to the side where there is x. So 1 positive 342 minus 390. Yeah, negative 47. Very true. Now, if I use the completing square method, I have to remain with x squared here minus 47x equals to negative 342. So I have to add a constant c now to both sides. And how do we add this constant? The value of b over 2 squared usually gives that constant. So what is b over 2? Negative 47 over 2, then we square. Negative 47 over 2, then we square. So it will be, when we take negative 47 over 2 squared, we'll be getting 2209 out of 4. So 2209 over 4. And we also add it to the other side, 2209 over 4. Yeah, we add it to both sides. Then as we add the right hand side, we shall factorize the left by starting with, the left is already a perfect square. So square root of x is x. The sign that follows is a minus. Square root of the other part is 47 out of 2. This is equal to, when I take negative 342 and I add 2209 over 4, I will get 210.25. So with this, now we can talk of okay, this one was to be squared. That is the factorized. When we factorize the perfect square, that is what we got. So we take square root for both sides. X minus 47 over 2. This is equal to square root, whereby I'm getting plus or minus 14.5. 14.5. Now with this, we can get the value of x by saying the first value of x will be 14.5 plus 47 over 2, or negative 14.5 plus 47 over 2. What is the first value of x? 38. Or the other possible value of x will be negative 14.5. Then we add 47 over 2. This is giving us 9. Given that the parents were more than 30, this one was very key. Given that the parents were more than 30. So it means the parents were 38. Even if there is another possible value of x, according to our instructions now, it will not become an answer. So the final answer is exactly 38. So we add 38 parents in this case. 38 parents originally. 38 parents. So that is it. We're in number 18 now. We are given a certain matrix here, which is a wow, this one is interesting. Given that A inverse, this is now the inverse of matrix A, 2, negative 5 over 2, negative 3, 4, find the matrix A. Okay, this one, it might be a bit technical to some students, but you're supposed to remember that when you are doing book 3 work, the teacher told you very well that when we multiply a matrix together with its own inverse, we get the identity matrix. A matrix multiplied by its own inverse should give us the identity matrix. And the order here does not matter. We can even start with the inverse of the matrix times the matrix. We should still get the identity matrix. Therefore, we say this unknown matrix A, we let matrix A be A, B, C, D. Then we say this matrix A, B, C, D multiplied by its own inverse, we're supposed to get the identity matrix. A matrix with 1 in the leading diagonal and zeros elsewhere. That way. So let's find now the unknown. So we work out row times column for us to get the first term. So 2A minus 3B, you know, we are multiplying A by 2 and B by negative 3 to get the first term, which is 1. Again, we can use the same row and the next column so that we get the value to the right. So that we say negative 5 over 2A plus 4B equals to 0. Equals to 0 that way. So these are two equations having A and B. So we can solve them simultaneously for us to get the value of A and B. So from equation 2, we see that 4B equals to 5 over 2A. 4B equals to 5 over 2A. That way, so that we can say the value of B shall be 5 over 2 divided by 4. This gives us 5 out of 8. So the value of B is 5 out of 8 A. So that in equation 1, where there is B, we use this value. So we talk about equation 1 now, whereby we'll have 2A minus 3 instead of B, 5 over 8A. This is equal to 1. That's equal to 1. Let me come up here for the space. Let me use the space up here. I hope you will coordinate. So I'm getting to this step, whereby I need to open brackets now, and say negative 15 over 8. So 2a minus 15 over 8a equals to 1. Yeah, 15 over 8 equals to 1. Therefore, I take 2 minus 15 over 8, and I'm getting an eighth. So an eighth a equals to 1, meaning that a equals to 8. So the value of a is 8. And now that we have gotten the value of a, then finding the value of b becomes very easy because there is already an equation here to give us the value of b. So b is going to be 5 out of 8, the value of a. So 8 will simplify and b becomes 5. So a is 8 and b is 5. The next thing that we are going to find is C and D. So we will say, when we take C and D, we multiply by the first column here. Multiply by the first column. This one, we're supposed to get the first term here, which is a 0. So C by 2, 2C minus 3D, we should get a 0, meaning that this equation can be simplified to 2C equals to 3D, and C equals to 3 over 2D. Then another equation in terms of C and D, and say that when we multiply C and D by the next row, that is negative 5 over 2C plus 4D, we're supposed to get 1. Yeah, the term here is supposed to get 1. So with this equation now, we're supposed to know that C has already been expressed. So we substitute directly now. Negative 5 over 2, instead of C, 3 over 2D plus 4D equals to 1. So let's now group terms here. Negative 5 out of 2, we are multiplying by 3 out of 2. Then now we add 4. You see, I'm getting a quarter D. So a quarter D equals to 1. This will mean that the value of D will be equal to 4 because I have to multiply by 4 both sides to remain with D. Now that we have the value of D, we can get C very quickly by saying that C equals to 3 out of 2, the value of D, which is 4, and C becomes 6. Therefore, the matrix A can now be written as AB, that is 8, 5, CD, that is a 6, 4. That way. So we have our matrix A already done. Very simple. Good. Let's check now part B of this. A student bought 16 exercise books and 10 pens at a total of 1018 Kenya shillings. If she had bought 12 exercise books and 8 pens, she would have spent 242 less. Part 1. Form a matrix equation to represent the information above. So 16 books, that can be 16 multiplied by the cost of one book plus 10 pens. So 10 by the cost of a pen, which is let to be Y. This should give us 1018. Now, if this student had bought 12 exercise books at the cost of X per exercise book and 8 pens, now we expect the girl to spend 242 less. So instead of 1018, we subtract 242. She would have spent 776. 776. Now, from this, we can see there are two linear equations, but remember we have to solve a matrix equation. Now, it's good if two equations are linear. It's good to have them completely simplified. So by 2, the first equation becomes 8x plus 5y equals to 1018 over 2. This gives us 509. The second equation, what is common? Again by 2. So this becomes 6x plus 4y equals to 776 out of 2, giving us 388. Yeah, we have equation 1, equation 2, that way. So with this, we can now form what we call matrix equation. So this is a linear equation and it is not the one being marked. Now we are marking the matrix equation, whereby we take the coefficients to form what we call coefficients matrix. From the coefficients, we are having 8, 5, 6, 4. This one is called the coefficients matrix. Then the variables here are x and y. We get the variables matrix. Then finally, 509 and 8 and 388, we call it now the constants matrix. So a matrix equation is formed of coefficients matrix, variables matrix, constants matrix, that way. So we form them that way. So that is what the examiner now is expecting. That is what the examiner is expecting. Now, using the inverse of A, in A above, determine the price of each item. In other words, we are being advised to find the value. We are being advised to find the value of X and Y using the matrix method, of course. So for us to use the matrix method, and something very interesting is that you discover that the coefficients matrix that we are obtaining here is the same as the matrix A that we are having here. So there is something that we shall not work out now, because we are supposed to pre-multiply both sides of this matrix equation by the inverse of the coefficients matrix. So the inverse of the coefficients matrix is already known. It is here. So 2, negative 5 over 2. 2, negative 5 over 2. Then negative 3 and 4. We multiply by, we have to pre-multiply both sides. Therefore, we multiply by 8, 5, 6, 4. This is a x, y. This is equal to, we bring it again, inverse. The inverse, we bring it here again. That way. Now with this, we should be able to conclude very quickly that this one is a matrix together with its inverse, and their product gives us the identity matrix. What is the identity matrix? 1, 0, 0, 1. So on the left-hand side, we don't even need to multiply. That is what we should get automatically. This is equal to, now we work out on the right-hand side. On the left, we are doing application, whereby we know that a matrix and its own inverse should give us the identity matrix. Row times column to get the first answer. So 2, we use a calculator now here. 2 multiplied by 509 minus 5 over 2 multiplied by 388. So this is giving me 48. The other row by the same column. -3, you open bracket, 509, plus 4, you open bracket, 388. This is giving us exactly 25. So something that we're supposed to know again is that any matrix multiplied by the identity matrix I remains unchanged. This one is a rule that we're supposed to know about matrices. A matrix multiplied by the identity matrix remains the same. So the variables matrix XY multiplied by the identity matrix just remains the way it is. And this now can lead us to conclusion that X equals to 48, Y equals to 25. Kenya shillings, of course. Kenya shillings. So the first one is the price of an exercise book. The other one, which we had let to be Y, is the price of a pen. This one is the price of a pen. That way, the price of a pen. So we have the prices of each item. That is what we want to find. Price of each item. Look at part C now. Find the total cost of 4 books and 5 pens by using matrices of orders, 1 row, 1 by 2 and 2 by 1. That means 1 row, 2 columns, then 2 columns, 1 row. This is the rows, columns, that way. So the order starts with row, column. So 4 books, write 4, and 5 pens, write pens that way. That's a matrix of 1 row. This is 1 row, but when you look at the columns, they are 2. So we are having 1 by 2. It's a 1 by 2 matrix. Multiplied by a 2 by 1 matrix. So we bring the prices here. 48 and 25. I hope they are corresponding such that 4 will go with 4 its books, which are exercise books, and these are pens. So 5 will multiply 25. So when we do this multiplication now, we need to multiply row times column for us to get the total. Row times column. Yeah, row times column. Therefore, we need 4 by 48 and 5 by 25. Then we get the total now. So 4 by 48 plus 5 by 25. This gives us 317 Kenya shillings. 317 Kenya shillings. That way. So we get to number 19 now. This is a question on kinematics together with the calculus. Remember to support our programs by using the till number 497772 shifting grades. So thank you for the continued support. We shall continue streaming lessons. We shall continue helping the Kenyan child until they all succeed. So use the number so that you may support our programs, and we shall continue growing together. Thank you for the support. Let's get to number 19 now. A particle moves along a straight line such that its displacement from a given point is given by displacement S equals to t power 3 minus 3t squared plus 3t, where t is the time in seconds. Find part A, the displacement of the particle at t equals to 3 seconds. So we are already having the displacement function. This is equal to t is 3. So 3 raised to power 3 minus 3 into t squared. So 3 will be squared. Plus 3 into time, which is 3. So where there is 3, where there is t, we substitute with 3. So we start by 3, we cube it, -3, then we open brackets, 3 squared, then 3, and we open brackets for 3 again, that way. So 3 raised to power 3 minus 3 into 3 squared plus 3 into 3. So we get exactly 9 meters. This one is the displacement. Displacement is distance in a specified direction. Distance in a specified direction. Look at part B now. The velocity of the particle when t equals to 3 seconds. When t equals to 3 seconds. Therefore, you're supposed to know that for us to get velocity function, we're supposed to differentiate displacement with respect to time. So we are going to differentiate the displacement function with respect to time for us to get velocity function. So differentiating this means where there is a t power 3, we bring the power to multiply such that we have 3. Then t is raised to the power minus 1. And we do the same for the next term. Negative 2 should multiply everything. So power 2 multiplies 3, we get -6. Then t, which was to power 2, now becomes power 1. Plus t is to power 1. So we drop 1 such that 3 multiplies by 1 to give us 3. And t, which was to power 1, now becomes power 0. So t power 0 becomes 1. So 3 times 1 is just 3. That way. So we have the velocity. We have the velocity function here. So for us to get velocity at t equals to 3, the velocity shall be 3 into 3 squared minus 6 into 3 plus 3. That way. So this shall be 3 into 3 squared minus 6 into 3, then plus 3. So I'm getting exactly 12. Being velocity, I'll talk about meters per second. Yeah, meters per second, because velocity is just speed in a specified direction. Look at part C. Find the value of t when the particle is momentarily at rest. Momentarily at rest means when the value of b is equal to 0. Momentarily at rest means velocity becomes 0. That's what it means by being at rest. Therefore, we take the velocity function and we equate it to 0. 3t squared minus 6t plus 3 equals to 0. We can see 3 is common, so we can have 3 simplifying equals to 0. So we can solve this quadratic equation through any of the methods of solving quadratic equations, like factorization, like completing the square, like the quadratic formulae. So if I use what we call the factorization, I'll need a product equal to a times c. So 1 times 1. Then sum the value at c, the value at b, sorry, which is -2. So this is -1 and -1, right? Multiplied +1, added -2, yeah. T squared minus t minus t. Instead of negative 2t, I have negative t, negative t. Then plus 1, this is equal to 0. So from the first two, we factor out t. We remain with t minus 1. Then in the last two, we factor out negative t. So that we remain with t. In the other two, we factor out t. So that what remains is, we can't factor out t in such a case. We can only factor out a negative 1. So that will remain with t minus 1. That way, this is equal to 0. Then now, from the brackets inside, we have t minus 1. And outside the brackets, we have t and also minus 1. So t minus 1. This is equal to 0. So the value of t minus 1 equals to 0, meaning that t equals to positive 1 seconds. T equals to positive 1 seconds. That will positive 1 seconds. So that is the time when the particle is momentarily at rest. Then we have a part D here that says we find the acceleration of the particle when the value of t equals to 4 seconds. When t equals to 4 seconds. So for us to get acceleration, we need to differentiate velocity with respect to time. So we go to the velocity function and we differentiate it. This is the velocity function. So we are supposed to differentiate it. We drop power 2. The function is a 3t squared minus 6t plus, is it 3? Let me check. Minus 6t plus 3. This one is the velocity function. So this is what we are differentiating. So for us to come up with the differential, we need to take power 2, we drop it to multiply 3, so that becomes 6. Then t, which was to power 2, now becomes power 1. Then minus the second term, we are having 6t, negative 6t. So t is already power 1. So we are supposed to drop the 1 to multiply 6, and it becomes negative 6. Then t, which was to power 1, now becomes power 0. The power has to reduce by 1. So when t has reduced in power to power 0, its value becomes 1. Therefore, 6 times 1 is just 6. And finally here, for us to have 3, it means there is t power 0, whose value is 1. Therefore, we are supposed to drop 0 there to multiply everything, and the constant becomes a 0. Actually, that is the reason why constants disappear during differentiation. So this is now the acceleration function. We need the value of acceleration when t is 4. So this is a 6 times 4. Then we subtract 6. This gives us exactly 18. Being acceleration meters per second squared. Yeah, second squared that way. Meters per second squared. Let's look at number 20. The table below shows distribution of ages in 60 adults who attended a clinic. So we have the ages in classes. We have a cumulative frequency. This is cumulative frequency, not frequency. Not frequency. Good for you to be very keen. Then the first question is telling us, this is CF. You must be very careful there. CF, not F. State the median class. Now, the median class is the class that will contain the age of the middle adult. So the total is 60. So 60 over 2 is 30. So we consider the cumulative frequencies for us to check the class that contains the 30th patient. So from the first class, we have only 3. Here, only 10, 22. So because we're looking for the 30th patient, and these are already 35 now, it means the 30th is contained in this class because he is not in this one, but this one is beyond 30. So he is in this class, and that is class 36 to 40. That becomes our median class. Calculate the mean of the data. Calculate the mean of the data. Now here we're supposed again to be very careful because we're supposed to come up with the frequencies themselves now. So let's come up with frequencies. The first frequency is 3. Then when added to the next frequency, we get 10. So that means the next frequency is a 7. That is why after adding the 2, we are getting 10. Then from 10, we are adding something to get 12. That means we are adding something to get 22. So if we have added something to 10 to get 22, it means whatever we have added is 12. Then from 22, we have added a certain value for us to get 35. So that value added is the frequency in the next class, and that will be 13. Then from 35 to 45, there is something that we have added. That is 10, which is our frequency now. Then from 45 to 53, something has been added, and that is 8. From 53 to 57, something has been added, and that is 4. Now, from 57 to 59, something has been added, and that is 2. Then from 59 to 60, something has been added, and that is 1. So we have only one patient whose age is 60 to 65. So we are having the frequencies now. So let me establish now the table more for me to get some other quantities that we will eventually require for the second question to be done. You see now that question has been set for a very sharp student. Sometimes, or in most of the cases, we are usually given frequency for us to get cumulative frequencies. But in this case, we have been given cumulative frequencies for us to get frequencies. So we are supposed to get something called median X of this data. Then the product of each median and the frequency. So we will talk about X, which is the class median. Let me write it here. So we need X, which is the class median. Then after that, we'll be getting F of X. Each frequency multiplied by the midpoint. For us to get midpoints, we need the limits added, then divided by 2. 21 plus 25, then we divide by 2. I'm getting a midpoint of 23. So 23 should be multiplied by a frequency of 3 to give us 69. Then we go to the next, 26 and 30. We add, then we divide by 2. I'm getting 28. 28 should be multiplied by a frequency of 7 to get 196. Then we go to 31 plus 35, and we divide by 2. We get 33, sorry. 33 should be multiplied by a frequency of 12. This gives us 396. Then we go to the next midpoint should be the limits of 36 and 40. 36 and 40 added. Then we divide by 2. We get 38 at the midpoint, multiplied by a frequency of 13. This gives 494. 494. Then we have 41 plus 45. We divide by 2. The midpoint becomes 43. 43 should be multiplied by a frequency of 10 to give us 430. After that, we go to 46 plus 50. We divide by 2. 48 is the midpoint. Times a frequency of 8. We get 384. Then after that, we have 51 and 55 added. Then we divide by 2. This gives us a midpoint of 53, multiplied by a frequency of 4 to give us 212. Then 56 and 60, those are the limits. We add and divide by 2. We get a midpoint of 58. Now we multiply by the frequency of 2 to give us 116. And finally, 60 plus 65. 60 plus 65. Though according to the way this data has been distributed, I think that is supposed to be 61. So that's an error. Sorry for that. We should be having a 1 here. This should be 1 because there is no way data can be discrete. Then at some point, it becomes continuous. So it should be 61 plus 65. Then we divide by 2. That was a typing error. The midpoint is 63. This should be multiplied by frequency of 1. So we are supposed now to know that mean is given by summation of f of x divided by summation of f. So now we need to get summation of f of x. 69 plus 196 plus 396 plus 494 plus 430 plus 384 plus 212 plus 116 plus 63. Then we divide everything. We divide everything by the total frequency of 60. You can also add at the table. Then you bring the answer. You bring the added. You bring the sum to the formula. You substitute directly. So 69 plus 196 plus 396 plus 494 plus 430 plus 384 plus 212 plus 116 plus 63. This is giving us 2360 out of 60. So we are going to have 39.33. Yeah, 39.33. That is the mean of the data. That's the mean of the data. Then on the same question now, there is a part C here. That was B. Now we check part C here. The figure below shows a frequency polygon on distribution of edges within a certain family. So these are the edges in a certain family. Generate a frequency distribution table of the data above. So we need to come up with classes. Then the frequency. That way, this is what we call a frequency distribution table. Then something else that we're supposed to understand. Something else that we should understand is that for us to come up with a frequency polygon, what is plotted is usually frequency against midpoints. So in this graph, we are having frequencies against class intervals, not really. And even if they are class intervals, what has been plotted is what we call the midpoints. So midpoints have been provided. Again, I would urge students, because there are several tactics of handling questions, and I want to give you a trick in this one. We know that a frequency polygon can be mounted. A frequency polygon can be mounted on a histogram. Therefore, assuming that there was a histogram here onto which this frequency polygon was mounted, then we would be having a bar there, because we usually join the mid of the bars. You see this? This way. So the mid of the bar is that one. Then the next bar is at this point. This way. Then again, way. As we wind up, we should know that there is a class which is running up to this extent that way. So now for the histogram that we have established, the histogram now will give us what we are calling the class boundaries, which are also the class limits according to this type of data. Therefore, between the first class is starting from this point up to this one. Let me show you. From this point up to this one, between 4 and 8, there is 6. And between 8 and 12, there is 10. So 6 to 10. Then the other class is starting from 10 all the way to 14. Then the other class is starting from 14 all the way to 18. Then the other one is from 18 all the way to, this is 22. Then the other one from 22 all the way to 26. Then the other one is from 26 all the way to 30. Then now we should know that now the heights are the frequencies. So the first frequency is between 2 and 4, which is 3. The next one is between exactly at 2. Then the next one is exactly at 3 once again. Then the next one is between 6 and 8. The value there is 7. Then between 22 and 26, we are having a height of 4. And finally, the last class is having a frequency of 2. Between 0 and 2, we have 1, sorry. 1 that way. So this is now the table. It has been developed. It is my hope that in future, given such a question where the frequency polygon has already been plotted, you can extract the data which was plotted, and that is generating a frequency distribution table. That way, very simple. Remember to subscribe. Remember to share so that you may invite a friend to our broadcasts. Very simple. Very simple. Very simple. Let's look at number 21. A triangle ABC has vertices A 2, 1, B 3, 2, and C 0, 4. On the grid provided, plot the triangle ABC. You see already the Cartesian plane has been labeled and numbered very well. So A is at 2, 1. So 2, 1, this is where A is. Then B is 3, 2. So 3, 2. That's where B is. Then C is 4, 0. 0, 4, sorry. 0, 4. 0, 4. C is going to be at that point. So let's draw this triangle. I join all the vertices to come up with a triangle and get the first mark. I get surprised when students miss even the first mark here without even transforming anything. You are already having a score. Remember, every score counts in mathematics. Every score in mathematics counts that way. So we're having already a mark by just plotting that Cartesian plane that way. In part B now, we are told that A prime, B prime, C prime is the image of ABC under a translation where the vector is 2, -5. Plot ABC prime and state its coordinates. Therefore, with translation vector 2, -5, translation vector 2, -5, it means for the x-axis, we are moving 2 units. Because they are positive on the x-axis, we go to the right. But for the y-axis, because they are negative, for the y-axis, because they are negative, we shall go downwards 5 units. Therefore, let us start translating. Let us start translating this triangle. So if it is point A, we move 2 to the right. So from A, we have 1, 2. Then downwards, we move 5 units. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we shall find ourselves here. This is A prime now. We move 2 to the right and 5 downwards. Then for us to locate B, we move 2 to the right. So 1, 2. Then after moving 2 to the right, we move 5 downwards. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So B prime shall be at that point. And finally C, we move 2 units, 1, 2. Then we move downwards 5 units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is C prime. Yeah, C prime that way. Now with C prime, A prime, and B prime, we can join them to get the triangle which has been translated. The triangle after translation. So we have the new triangle. The new triangle has already been drawn. We have also been advised to state the coordinates. Therefore, A prime, this is a 4, -4, yeah. Then B prime is going to be, this is 5, -3. Then C prime equals to 2, -1. 2, -1, that way. So we are now having the triangle which has been translated together with the coordinates of the image. Look at part C now. We are told this. Plot A double prime, B double prime, C double prime, the image of A prime, B prime, C prime after a rotation about the origin through a negative quarter turn. Through a negative quarter turn. Look at that. Through a negative quarter turn. So a negative quarter turn is a negative 90 degrees rotation, which means in the clockwise. So when angles are measured in the clockwise direction, they are negative. So negative quarter turn means negative 90 degrees, which translates to a rotation in the clockwise direction. So we shall rotate in the clockwise direction. So we start rotating. Remember about the origin. So origin is coordinate 0, 0. Origin is coordinate 0, 0. Therefore, we are supposed to connect. If it is C, we connect C to the origin. We connect C to the origin. Then after that, now, we measure 90 degrees in a clockwise direction. After just joining, we measure 90 degrees in a clockwise direction. So 90 degrees in the clockwise direction will be here. 90 in clockwise. That way. Then when we measure an equal distance along that 90, we discover that C double prime is at such a point. That is now 90 in a clockwise direction. Then we do the same for B and we do the same for A. So we connect A to the center of rotation. A to the center of rotation that way. Then along that line now, we shall measure 90 in a clockwise direction. 90 in a clockwise direction. Then we do an equal distance on the other side. So equal distance means equal distance will be at this point. Therefore, that becomes our A double prime that way. What about C? We have C already. So we rotate finally. Point B. Point B should be rotated finally. To rotate B now, we connect it again. We connect B to the center of rotation. Then now along that line, we measure 90. Along that line, we measure 90. We measure 90 that way. Then we are supposed to move along that 90 an equal distance. Along that 90, we move for an equal distance until we get the coordinates of B prime, until we get the coordinates of B prime. Then an equal distance will take us to a point like this. So that is where we shall be having our triangle. So we shall be having our point B double prime. Then now we can join. We can now join. We can now join. So I'm going to use a different ink. I'm going to use a very different ink. Join A to C, then to B, then B to A. That way, so we are having our new triangle that way. So if I'm told to state the coordinates, I hope, we are having a challenge here. I want you to notice our challenge, that the grid which has been provided is not perfect. So the grid is having one side which is longer than the other. It should be a perfect square, equal sides. So because of that inconvenience, the coordinates are not very accurate. But anyway, we shall get them. Therefore, A double prime is -4, -4. Then, we can talk about B double prime, which is supposed to be -5. B double prime. B double prime is becoming a -3, -4, -3, -4. This one I really doubt. Then we have C prime. So sorry for that inconvenience because of the kind of a grid that we are using. But C is becoming -1, -2. -1, -2. Yeah, that way. So I suppose this is what we should be having according to the distances. So we should be having our B at a point like this, so that the triangle is drawn this way. So next time we'll be having a perfect grid. Don't worry. Yeah, this way. So after rotation, we should be getting something like this, such that now we are having -3, -5, -3, -5, that way. So these are the coordinates after the rotation. So that is it. Finally, we are having a part D. We are told A triple prime, B triple prime, C triple prime is the image of A double prime, B double prime, C double prime after rotation on the line y equals to 0. So y equals to 0 equals to x-axis. Yeah, x-axis. Y equals to 0 is the line, x-axis. So we shall reflect along the x-axis. And to reflect means we just connect a point to the mirror line, which is the x-axis. This one is the x-axis. So we connect, if it's A, we connect A to the mirror line, then we move an equal distance on the upper side. So if it was 4 units below, we go 4 units above triple prime. Then for C, it is 2 units below, so it comes up here, C triple prime. Then for B, which is 5 units below, it comes 5 units above, such that it is at a point here. That way. And now we can draw it. That will be the reflection along the x-axis. So that's what we call reflecting. So from here, we've gone on the upper side. We reflect along the x-axis, which is line y equals to 0, that way. So have we been taught to state the coordinates? Yes. So A triple prime will have the coordinates -4, 4. Then B triple prime shall have the coordinates -3, 5. Then C triple prime shall have the coordinates -1, 2. -1, 2, that way. So with this now, we can see that everything has been done for that question. Remember to subscribe to our platform. Remember to share this lesson with a friend. Invite somebody to this broadcast. Now, in number 22, a paper cup is made in the shape of a frustum, of a cone, with an open top of diameter 10.5. Mark well that is a diameter, not a radius, 10.5, and a sealed bottom of diameter 7 centimeters. If it has a depth